One of the best ways to become a better climber is to spend time observing better climbers. Who'd have thought? I've been climbing for a little over 7 years now, and my max grade has been stuck at V6 for like a year or two. But my buddy Moser, who's been climbing a similar amount of time, has been stepping up his game lately, sent a bunch of V8s, a couple of V9s, and is well on his way to sending his first V10, I'm sure. I've been lucky enough to have a handful of sessions with him here since getting back to Colorado earlier this year. And I've been paying really close attention to see what I can learn and implement in my own climbing. I came up with 6 lessons that hopefully you find useful and can learn from as well. Lesson number 6 comes from spending a day following Moser around Joe's Valley as he attempted to collect 100 V points in a single session. I feel like there were a lot of little nuggets of wisdom that I probably picked up on that day, but what stood out to me the most was that climbing is first and foremost a technical sport. There's a good chance you've heard that before from climbing coaches or other YouTubers. Basically what it means is, just like most other technical sports, the best way to get better at it is probably to do more of it. In this instance for Ryan, that meant trying a bunch of different kinds of boulders, not being too picky about the grade or about the style, repeating boulders to fine-tune the movement. Overall, basically just getting a lot of repetition on different types of moves to add it into your repertoire or sack of tricks and take it forward with you onto more difficult climbs or future projects or whatever. Ryan doesn't only boulder, but he actually does quite a lot of trad climbing these days and some sport mixed in, and it's really only been in the last couple of years that he's stepped it up more in the bouldering space. So that's lesson 6. Climb as much as you can, as often as you can without tempting injury too much. Lesson number 5 comes from a session at Three Sisters where Caroline and I had been projecting the Skipper, a pretty hard V5. We had a few sessions into it and Ryan joined us out for one of them. It wasn't how quickly he sent it that stood out to me most. I figured he probably would do that. He has sent it before, but it had been a while and was coming back for a repeat. What stood out to me most is that even though Moser is stronger than Caroline and I and has a bit of a different body type, a little taller, a little longer reach, he really paid close attention to the beta options we were giving him and what we had figured out so far to try to make the quickest work of the repeat that he could. So I guess what I learned here is that you should always be looking to learn, even if it's from climbers that are weaker than you. Lesson number 4 comes from a session at RMNP where I've been working on a V5 at the boxcar boulder. Ryan was able to use a bit of reach. Ryan was able to use a bit of reach to cut out a few moves and really clean up the beta down low to save energy for the crux move up top. Ultimately, this actually worked for me as well to cut some moves and make some longer reaches that I didn't think I'd necessarily be able to. So I guess this lesson could be lean into your strengths or fine-tune your beta with a preference for efficiency and a fewer number of moves. Either way, Ryan made pretty quick work of my little project here. I actually still haven't sent it. I need to get back and try again soon. Lesson number 3 comes from a session at Flagstaff Mountain on a boulder called Valhalla. I've been working on this one a little bit lately because it's close by and supposedly sort of a soft V7, so I'm hoping that it could be my first V7. I've had a few sessions on it and have a couple of potential betas worked out for the crux, one of which ended up working for Caroline pretty well. She sent it, taking about 10% credit on that one. That was her second V7, so pretty sweet. And although getting some beta from me probably helped Ryan send it quicker, what really stood out to me here was the importance of crimp strength. No surprise that finger strength is an important part of climbing harder, but specifically being able to crimp down on small holds can really be the difference maker when you're bouldering outside especially. Of course, Ryan has a lot of other good things going for him as well, but that really stood out to me the most was just the brute crimp strength that was able to get him through the beta that I had figured out but couldn't actually do myself. Ryan does do a bit of hangboarding at home. Like recently he's been pulling on monos, not to so much strengthen but more to just get more flexible and less likely to get an injury if you do pull on a mono. But most of his crimp strength comes from climbing outside, whether that's through trad or sport or especially here over the last couple of years, hard bouldering. Lesson number 2 came from another little session at Flagstaff. Ryan was working on this traversing V7, I think. pretty difficult one, very technical and also long and sustained. And he was helping me work on this dynamic V4 that I've been wanting to try, which ultimately I did not send that session, but I'm coming back to it real soon. And what stood out to me here is that even though the conditions weren't great, it was pretty hot and sweaty, Ryan didn't let that deter him from trying hard on his V7 project just to work out the moves. And he also didn't let it deter him from resending the V4, both to help me out and just to get that repetition in like we've been talking about. It turned into somewhat of a night session. So lesson number 2, don't make excuses. Even if you can't send because the conditions aren't prime or due to any other reason, you can still try hard, get stronger, improve your climbing. Lesson number 1 was an unexpected one. Came to me at another session at Flagstaff. I was working on this V3 and making a video comparing indoor to outdoor climbing. I was able to flash most of the boulder, like the opening moves and through what I think was maybe the crux physically, but then I wasn't able to top it out on that go or a handful of goes, mostly because I was just a little too scared and not willing to try really hard. I did eventually send this boulder after a handful of attempts and some more people showed up to help spot me and give me a little more confidence for the top out. But then when I was flipping through tick marks on Mountain Project, I saw that Moser had done it recently and that he had flashed it. So I think the lesson learned from this one is that sometimes you have to just suck it up and try hard. Well, we'll see you next Sunday.